I married someone that was, you know, I always tell guys when they meet a woman, marry your conscience. Marry someone who's the person you wish you could be, and it works out okay. We all know Jay Leno as the king of late-night comedy, the man who made us laugh through countless episodes of The Tonight Show. But what if the legendary comedian has been hiding a heart-wrenching secret for decades? His early life was a comedy of its own, with practical jokes but behind the humor was a young boy shaped by loss and longing. And then there's a girl, the fierce feminist who vowed never to marry, yet became the love of Jay's life. But why did Jay keep his pain hidden behind his comedic persona? How did he and his wife defy the odds to build a lasting marriage? And what is the real story behind the rumor that's followed him for decades? We're going to reveal the side of Jay Leno you never knew existed, child prodigy. Jay Leno was born on April 28, 1950, in New Rochelle, New York. His mother, Catherine, was a homemaker who was born in Scotland and came to the United States when she was young. His father, Angelo, was an insurance salesman who was born in New York to parents who had come from Italy. Jay also had an older brother named Patrick, who was a veteran of the Vietnam War and later became a lawyer. Patrick sadly passed away in 2002. From a young age, Leno showed a fondness for comedy. He often devised practical jokes and committed pranks while he was in grade school. While he lived in northern Massachusetts, Leno would go on to attend and graduate from Andover High School. The aspiring comedian landed his first job slicing potatoes at the Main Street branch of McDonald's in the Essex County town, located just over 20 miles from Boston. It was while he was working for the fast food giant that Leno would make his first successful foray into comedy. Yes, it was through McDonald's talent contest that Leno would learn firsthand how telling jokes could pay. Leno soon began to seriously pursue his comedy dream, penning and then performing comedy skits at coffee shops and on Boston's Emerson College campus where he was studying. Leno would graduate from Emerson in 1973, earning a Bachelor of Arts in Speech Therapy during his time there. Early career. After he left the Boston College, Leno decided to head west, relocating to Los Angeles to follow his comedy dream. By 1976, Leno had started to make a bit of a name for himself, and minor acting work began to fall in his lap alongside gigs opening for the likes of Tom Jones and Johnny Mathis. The by now 20-something appeared in the very first episode of a new cop and robot show called Holmes and Yo-Yo. His major career breakthrough, however, would come in 1977. He was invited on to The Tonight Show, a major stage for any aspiring comedian. His jokes landed, the audience laughed, and Jay knew he was one step closer to his dream. But the road to fame wasn't always smooth. Throughout the 70s, Jay found himself taking on small roles here and there. He popped up on the sitcom Good Times in an episode where JJJ gets into a bit of trouble, and even got a spot in the pilot for a quirky show called Holmes and Yo-Yo. Jay's first taste of the silver screen came with a blink, and you'll miss it part in Fun with Dick and Jane. But soon bigger roles followed. He brought his comedic chops to American Hot Wax and Silver Bears in 1978. It was a busy time for him, hopping from one project to the next. He had roles in the made-for-TV movie Almost Heaven, appeared on the popular show One Day at a Time, and even tried his hand at the political satire of Americathon. The 80s saw Jay continue his journey, taking on roles in the campy comedy Polyester and making guest appearances on beloved sitcoms like Alice and Laverne and Shirley. While his parts weren't always leading roles, each one helped him hone his skills and build a name for himself in the industry. Jay's one and only starring role on the big screen came in 1989 with Collision Course, a buddy cop comedy alongside the legendary Pat Morita of Karate Kid fame. While the film wasn't a box office smash, it was a unique opportunity for Jay to showcase his comedic talent in a leading role. But Jay's ambitions didn't stop there. He also made frequent appearances on Late Night with David Letterman, another popular late-night talk show, and he even tried his hand at game shows, appearing on Match Game Hollywood Squares Hour for a few weeks. It was a period of hard work and perseverance for the aspiring comedian. Each role, big or small, was a step forward in his journey to becoming a household name. Little did he know that these early experiences were shaping him into the iconic late-night host he would eventually become. Big break. In the late 80s, Jay Leno was becoming a familiar face on The Tonight Show. He wasn't just any guest, though. He was a regular substitute host for the legendary Johnny Carson. This was a big deal, like being the understudy for a Broadway star. Every time he stepped in for Johnny, it was a chance to shine, to show the world what he was made of. By 1992, the throne of late-night television was up for grabs. Johnny Carson, the king of comedy, was stepping down. The whole world was watching, wondering who would inherit his crown. There were two contenders, and the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. On one side, there was Jay Leno, the reliable stand-up comic and frequent guest host. On the other side was David Letterman, the sarcastic, offbeat host of Late Night with David Letterman, the show that followed The Tonight Show. Many people, including Carson himself, thought Letterman was the natural heir, but NBC, the network behind The Tonight Show, had other plans. They chose Jay Leno. The announcement sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, sparking a bitter rivalry that would become known as the Late Night Wars. The whole affair was so dramatic that it even inspired a book and a movie. But through all the turmoil, Jay Leno remained focused. He took the reins of The Tonight Show and continued doing what he loved, making people laugh. He even kept performing stand-up comedy, never forgetting his roots. Jay's hard work and dedication started to pay off. In 1995, he finally beat Letterman in the ratings for the first time. It was a major victory, a sign that he had truly earned his place as the new king of late night. As the years went on, Jay's popularity only grew. He became a fixture in American homes, his familiar face and witty jokes a comforting presence at the end of the day. In 2004, NBC, wanting to secure their golden goose, offered Jay a contract extension to host The Tonight Show until 2009. But change was on the horizon. In the same year, NBC signed a deal with Conan O'Brien, another popular comedian, to take over The Tonight Show in 2009. This meant that Jay's reign would eventually come to an end. But for now, he was still the king of late night, and he was going to make the most of it. As the 2000s rolled on, Jay Leno's reign on The Tonight Show continued. But even kings faced challenges. And in 2007, the Writers Guild of America went on strike. This wasn't just any strike. It was a strike that threatened to silence the very heart of late-night comedy. The writers. Amid the turmoil, Jay found himself in hot water. He was accused of breaking the strike rules by writing his own monologues for The Tonight Show. It was a messy situation, with NBC and Jay claiming they had a secret agreement with the WGA, while the WGA denied any such thing. In the spotlight of scrutiny, Jay faced the Writers Guild of America, West Trial Committee not once, but twice. The tension was palpable, with careers and reputations hanging in the balance. But when the dust settled, the WGAW didn't include Jay on their list of strikebreakers. It was a small victory in the midst of a difficult time, but life threw another curveball at Jay in 2009. Just as the drama of the strike was beginning to fade, he was rushed to the hospital with an undisclosed illness. It was a moment of concern for fans and colleagues alike. Was this the end of his reign? Thankfully, it wasn't. Jay was released from the hospital the very next day and was back at work on Monday. The two canceled shows were the first he had missed in 17 years as host, a testament to his dedication and work ethic. At first, he kept the nature of his illness private, adding a layer of mystery to the whole situation. But later, he revealed to People magazine that it was simply exhaustion. It was a reminder that even the seemingly tireless Jay Leno was human, susceptible to the same stresses and strains as everyone else. The Jay Leno Show. The wheels of change were turning, and Jay Leno, the king of late night, was about to embark on a new adventure. Even though The Tonight Show was still a ratings hit, his contract with NBC was nearing its end. Speculation ran rampant. Would he jump ship to another network? Would he retire? The future of late-night television hung in the balance. In a surprising twist, Jay decided to stay with NBC, but not on The Tonight Show. Instead, he would be moving to a brand new show, a primetime gig at 10 p.m. ET. It was a bold move, a gamble, but Jay wasn't one to shy away from a challenge. On May 29, 2009, Jay Leno bid farewell to The Tonight Show. The torch was passed to Conan O'Brien, and a new era began. But Jay wasn't gone for long. Just a few months later, on September 14, 2009, The Jay Leno Show premiered. It was a familiar format with celebrity guests, musical performances, and the beloved headlines segment. It was like The Tonight Show, but earlier in the evening, a chance for Jay to reach a whole new audience. The premiere was a star-studded affair, with Jerry Seinfeld, Oprah Winfrey, and even a surprise appearance by Kanye West, fresh from his controversial stunt at the MTV Video Music Awards the night before. It was a bold start to a new chapter in Jay Leno's career. The move to primetime was a risk, but Jay was confident. He had a loyal following, a proven track record, and a new platform to showcase his talents. It was a chance to redefine what late-night television could be. But as the saying goes, the best-laid plans of mice and men often go awry. Jay's new show faced unexpected challenges, and the ratings weren't quite what everyone had hoped for. The future of The Jay Leno Show, and Jay's place in late-night television, was once again uncertain. Return to The Tonight Show. The late-night landscape was shifting, and not everyone was happy. Despite the initial excitement, neither Jay Leno's new show at 10 p.m. nor Conan O'Brien's Tonight Show were attracting the viewers NBC had hoped for. The network's affiliates were feeling the pressure, their newscasts suffering from the lackluster lead-in. Something had to change. Behind closed doors, whispers turned into rumors, and rumors into reality. On January 7, 2010, the news broke. Jay Leno was being moved back to his old stomping grounds, the 11:35 p.m. time slot. Conan's Tonight Show would be bumped to 12:05 a.m., a move unheard of in the show's history. The announcement sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. It was a public relations nightmare for NBC and a personal crisis for Conan. He felt betrayed, his dream job slipping away from him after only a few months. His contract allowed NBC to move the show, but he was blindsided by the decision. Adding insult to injury, the 2010 Winter Olympics were set to preempt all of NBC's late-night programming, pushing Conan's show even further into the wee hours of the morning. It was a recipe for disaster. On January 10th, NBC officially confirmed the move. Jay would be back at 11:35 p.m., and Conan was left with a difficult choice: accept the new time slot and a shorter show, or walk away from the network altogether. TMZ reported that Conan was furious. He had no warning about the change, and the ultimatum from NBC felt like a slap in the face. The once beloved host was now in a battle with his own network, his dream of hosting The Tonight Show hanging in the balance. The late-night drama was reaching its climax. Conan O'Brien, caught in a tug-of-war with NBC, made his stance clear. On January 12th, he issued a bold statement. He would not continue hosting The Tonight Show if it was pushed back to 12:05 a.m. He believed that the move would damage the legacy of the show, a franchise he deeply respected. The Tonight Show at 12:05 simply isn't The Tonight Show, Conan declared, his words echoing the sentiments of many fans and industry insiders. The battle lines were drawn, and the stakes were high. Negotiations between Conan and NBC continued, but it was clear that the two sides were far apart. The future of late-night television hung in the balance. On January 21st, a deal was finally struck. Conan would leave The Tonight Show, but not without a hefty payout. He would receive $33 million, and his dedicated staff of nearly 200 would receive $12 million. It was a bitter victory. A bittersweet ending to a tumultuous chapter. Conan's final episode aired on January 26, 2010. It was an emotional farewell, filled with laughter, tears, and heartfelt goodbyes. Conan's fans mourned his departure, but he left with his head held high, his integrity intact. With Conan out of the picture, Jay Leno returned to his throne as host of The Tonight Show on March 1, 2010. The late-night landscape had shifted once again, and the king was back. But the controversy had taken its toll. Viewership for Leno's Tonight Show declined, reaching its lowest second-quarter ratings since 1992. Although it remained the most-watched late-night program, the damage had been done. The battle for late-night supremacy had left scars on the network, the hosts, and the viewers. In 2010, the late-night landscape was about to shift once again. NBC announced that Jay Leno would be leaving The Tonight Show in the spring of 2014, and his successor would be none other than the charismatic Jimmy Fallon. The news sent ripples through the entertainment world, a sense of déjà vu washing over those who remembered the turbulent transition from Johnny Carson to Leno years before. But this time, there was no public feud, no bitter rivalry. Jay had accepted the decision with grace, ready to pass the torch to a new generation. His final show as host of The Tonight Show was a star-studded celebration, a fitting tribute to his legendary career. Billy Crystal, Jay's first ever guest on The Tonight Show, returned for one last hurrah. Garth Brooks serenaded the audience with his iconic tunes, and surprise guests like Jack Black, Kim Kardashian, Jim Parsons, Sheryl Crow, Chris Paul, Carol Burnett, and Oprah Winfrey all came to pay their respects and share in the sweet farewell. It was a night of laughter, tears, and fond memories, a fitting end to an era, later career. But Jay Leno wasn't ready to fade into the sunset. He wasn't the type to sit back and relax. Instead, he embraced his love for stand-up comedy, embarking on a nationwide tour, performing in front of packed houses across the United States and Canada. He did over 200 shows a year, his energy and passion for comedy as infectious as ever. Jay also made appearances on other late-night shows, including The Tonight Show, starring Jimmy Fallon, and Late Night with Seth Meyers. He even showed up on the finale of The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson, proving that there were no hard feelings, and that the late-night community was a tight-knit one. In a humorous twist, Jay even made a cameo in the premiere of The Late Late Show with James Corden, playfully tormenting Corden in a mock boot camp for talk show hosts. It was a light-hearted moment, a reminder of Jay's good humor and his willingness to embrace the next generation of late-night stars. Despite invitations, Jay declined to appear on The Late Late Show with David Letterman, even for the show's finale in 2015. It was a decision that sparked speculation and debate, but ultimately, it was a testament to Jay's respect for Letterman and his desire to avoid any unnecessary drama. After all, they had both been through enough of that in the past. But the late-night world wouldn't let Jay completely escape its orbit. In 2010, during Super Bowl XXV, he appeared in a commercial for The Late Show, alongside Letterman and Oprah Winfrey. It was a moment of unity, a reminder that despite their differences, they were all part of the same late-night family. In 2014, he revved up the engines with Jay Leno's Garage, a one-hour special on CNBC that showcased his impressive car collection and his passion for all things automotive. The special was a hit, and soon, Jay Leno's Garage became a full-fledged primetime series on CNBC. For 7 seasons, Jay shared his love of cars with viewers, interviewing celebrities, showcasing unique vehicles, and even getting his hands dirty in the garage. It was a dream come true for the car enthusiast, a chance to combine his 2 passions, comedy and cars, into one exciting venture. But Jay's talents didn't stop there. He also found himself back on the sitcom scene, taking on a recurring role in Tim Allen's comedy series, Last Man Standing. Jay played Joe Leonard, a down-to-earth mechanic who worked in Mike Baxter's outdoor sporting goods store. It was a role that fit him like a glove, allowing him to showcase his dry wit and love for tinkering with machines. In 2021, Jay took on another exciting challenge, hosting the revival of the classic game show, You Bet Your Life. For 2 seasons, Jay brought his signature humor and quick wit to the show, entertaining audiences with his playful banter with contestants and his hilarious commentary. But when the 2023 Writers Guild of America strike hit, Jay showed his solidarity with the writers by refusing to cross the picket line. This decision led to the cancellation of You Bet Your Life, after Fox's first run offered stations alternative shows to fill the time slot during the strike. Jay's talent for making people laugh wasn't limited to live-action roles. He also lent his voice to various animated characters, including the Crimson Chin on The Fairly Odd Parents and Billy Beagle in Mickey and the Roadster Racers. His distinctive voice and comedic timing added a special touch to these beloved characters. In 2019, Jay even made a guest appearance on America's Got Talent, where he had the honor of pressing the golden buzzer for opera singer Iman Abisha. It was a heartwarming moment, showcasing Jay's appreciation for talent and his willingness to support aspiring artists. And in 2023, Jay returned to his old stomping grounds at NBC, appearing as a celebrity guest judge on the season finale of Hot Wheels Ultimate Challenge. It was a full-circle moment, a reminder of his long and storied career in television, love life. It was the mid-70s, and Jay Leno's star was on the rise. But it wasn't just his career that was taking off. His love life was about to bloom as well. One night in January 1976, at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles, Jay's eyes met Mavis Elizabeth Nicholson's, and their extraordinary love story began. Mavis, a 29-year-old from San Francisco, was in the audience that night with a friend. She was working on her own comedy writing, and the Comedy Store was a hotbed of comedic talent. But that night, it was Jay Leno who caught her eye. As fate would have it, after Jay's set, Mavis found herself in the same restroom where the comedians hung out. Jay recognized her from the front row and asked, "Are you that girl in front?" They struck up a conversation, and sparks flew. Jay casually asked for Mavis's birthday, and when she replied September 5th, he burst out laughing. It turned out that many women Jay had dated were born in September. It was a strange coincidence, but it seemed like a sign. Their connection deepened, and their relationship blossomed. 4 years later, Jay proposed to Mavis, despite the fact that she had been vehemently opposed to marriage since childhood. Mavis, a dedicated feminist, had been influenced by the sitcom The Honeymooners, which portrayed wives as trapped and unappreciated. She had vowed never to get married or have children. But Jay was different. He was kind, supportive, and respectful of Mavis's independence. He didn't fit the stereotype of the domineering husband she had seen on TV. Their love was genuine and based on mutual respect. And Mavis found herself reconsidering her long-held beliefs about marriage. The feminist firebrand found herself at a crossroads, but their decision to wed wasn't a grand romantic gesture. It was born out of practicality. Jay wanted to add Mavis to his life insurance policy, and the simplest way was to get married. Might as well, Jay thought. Romance, it seems, was not the driving force behind their union. Their wedding was a quiet affair, a small gathering of close friends, a world away from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. They chose to wed on November 3rd, 1980, mirroring the date of Jay's parents' wedding. What had changed Mavis's mind about marriage? She revealed to the Los Angeles Times in 2014 that she felt the fight for women's equality had been won. "I was past it," she said. While her early stance against marriage had been important, she was now ready to embrace a new chapter in her life with Jay. Their marriage proved to be a rock-solid foundation as Jay's career skyrocketed. Meanwhile, Mavis carved her own path, dedicating her time to feminist causes and human rights advocacy. She championed the rights of Afghan women and girls, using her influence and platform to raise awareness and drive change. The Leno couple, it seemed, were a perfect match, each excelling in their chosen fields while supporting each other's passions. But what was the secret to their enduring marriage? A union that had weathered the storms of fame and fortune. In a 2015 interview on Today, Jay offered a glimpse into their recipe for success. He joked, "The trick is to marry like a normal person." He went on to explain that many people get swept up in the initial excitement of a relationship, only to realize later that their partner's flaws are too much to bear. But Jay's advice went deeper than that. He shared a profound truth. You marry the person you wish you could be. He believed that Mavis embodied the qualities he admired and aspired to. She was his conscience, his moral compass, a constant reminder of the importance of compassion, empathy, and social justice. Their contrasting careers seemed to complement each other perfectly. Jay, the self-proclaimed selfish entertainer, found balance in Mavis's selfless dedication to others. Together, they formed a harmonious partnership, supporting each other's dreams while making a positive impact on the world. In 2024, a shadow fell over the Leno household. Mavis, Jay's beloved wife and steadfast companion, was diagnosed with a devastating illness, advanced dementia. The news was heartbreaking, a cruel twist of fate for the couple who had weathered so many storms together. Mavis, the fierce feminist and passionate advocate, was now struggling to recognize her own husband and even her own birthday. The Los Angeles Superior Court granted Jay conservatorship of their joint estate, a difficult but necessary decision to ensure Mavis' well-being and protect their shared assets. It was a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating impact of illness. Throughout their lives, Jay and Mavis had faced challenges together, their bond growing stronger with each obstacle they overcame. But this new hurdle was different, a silent thief stealing away Mavis's memories and independence. It was a heartbreaking reality for Jay, who had always relied on his wife's unwavering support and sharp wit. Despite the devastating diagnosis, Jay remained devoted to Mavis, providing her with the care and support she needed. He continued to work, appearing on stage and in front of the camera, but his heart was heavy with the knowledge of his wife's declining health. Personal struggles. In 1994, Jay's world was shattered when both of his parents succumbed to cancer within a year of each other. The loss of his parents left an immense void in his life, as they had been his unwavering support system. But the tragedy didn't end there. Less than a decade later, his younger brother Patrick was diagnosed with cancer and passed away in 2002 at the age of 62. In less than a decade, Jay lost 3 of his closest family members. It was a devastating blow, one that left him reeling and questioning everything. The pain of losing his parents was still fresh when he had to confront the reality of losing his brother. It felt as if his entire support system was crumbling around him. Despite the overwhelming grief, Jay managed to pick up the pieces and move forward. He continued to entertain audiences with his trademark wit and humor, but the scars of his loss remained. Even 20 years after Patrick's passing, the memories of his brother, his parents, and the pain of their absence still haunted him. Jay's raw emotions were evident when he paid tribute to his father on The Tonight Show. The usually light-hearted host became vulnerable, sharing heartfelt stories and anecdotes about his dad. He spoke of his father's humble beginnings as a street kid in New York City, his determination to succeed, and his unwavering love for his family. Jay's father, Angelo, had been a fighter, a survivor. He had worked his way up from a tough childhood to become a successful insurance salesman and district manager. He was a man of integrity, never uttering a harsh word to his wife or resorting to discriminatory language. Angelo had a special bond with his customers, especially those in Harlem. He treated them with respect and kindness, earning their trust and loyalty. He even brought gifts and candy for their children, sharing stories and laughter with them. Jay's health challenges also made his life difficult. He had always been known for his prominent jaw, a characteristic feature that had become part of his comedic persona. But it was more than just a quirky trait. It was a condition called mandibular prognathism. Although surgery could have corrected it, Jay had opted against it, not wanting to endure the lengthy recovery process with his jaws wired shut. Jay was also dyslexic, a learning disability that had made his academic journey challenging. But he had overcome this obstacle through hard work and determination, proving that even with difficulties, one can achieve great things. Despite his busy schedule, Jay made time for his passions, particularly his love for cars. He spent countless hours in his garage, tinkering with his vast collection of vehicles and indulging in his hobby. He was also known for his healthy lifestyle, abstaining from alcohol, smoking, and gambling. However, in November 2022, tragedy struck again. While working in his garage, Jay suffered severe burns to his face and hands when a vehicle burst into flames. The accident left him with significant injuries, including the need for a new ear. It was a painful and traumatic experience, but Jay's resilience and determination shone through as he recovered and returned to work. But fate wasn't done testing him. In January 2023, Jay suffered multiple broken bones after falling off a motorcycle. This second accident within a few months was a major setback. But Jay once again showed his strength and perseverance, vowing to recover and continue pursuing his passions. Michael Jackson trial. The year 2005 marked a turbulent chapter in Jay Leno's life, one that intertwined the world of late-night comedy with a high-profile legal case. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, was on trial facing allegations of child molestation, and Jay found himself unexpectedly entangled in the controversy. Leno was called upon to be a defense witness in the trial. His testimony centered on a phone conversation he had with the accuser, a conversation that he described as unusual and scripted, although he was not asked for money. This unexpected turn of events placed Leno in the crosshairs of the legal system, and his involvement in the trial sparked a new wave of headlines. As a result of his testimony, Leno was initially prohibited from making jokes about Michael Jackson or the case on The Tonight Show. This gag order was a significant blow for the comedian, as his opening monologues often featured topical jokes and commentary. However, Leno and his team of writers found a clever way to circumvent the gag order. Leno would briefly step aside during his opening monologue, allowing other comedians to take the stage and deliver jokes about the trial. A parade of stand-in comedians, including Roseanne Barr, Drew Carey, Brad Garrett, and Dennis Miller, took turns roasting Michael Jackson and the ongoing legal saga. It was a humorous act of defiance, a way for Leno to express his comedic voice while adhering to the restrictions placed upon him. However, the gag order was eventually challenged, and the court ruled that Leno could continue telling jokes about the trial as long as he did not discuss his testimony. This decision was a victory for Leno and freedom of speech, as it allowed him to return to his familiar routine of poking fun at the news and current events. To celebrate the lifting of the gag order, Leno dedicated an entire monologue to Michael Jackson jokes. It was a cathartic moment for the comedian, as he unleashed a barrage of jokes and quips about the pop star and the ongoing trial. The audience roared with laughter, and Leno reclaimed his comedic territory, proving that even in the face of legal restrictions, humor could prevail.